Brianna has a crazy success story. She has multiple e-commerce businesses. She started out selling clothes and jewelry on eBay and has since moved into other spaces, including Amazon and other e-commerce platforms, and basically became an e-commerce millionaire. She was a teacher, and she's now an e-commerce millionaire.
We were lucky enough to steal her away from a conference for a half hour, so the audio is a little bit distracting in the background, but she's totally worth listening to.
The content is gold, guys. And after I talked to her, I seriously was about to sign up for an eBay account and go absolute crazy. And I still might. So I think you're going to get a lot out of it. Stick it out with the audio and enjoy.
Welcome to Fire Drill Podcast, where side hustles, savings, and creativity lead to financial independence. With your hosts, Gwen from Fiery Millennials and Jay from Millennial Boss.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Fire Drill Podcast. We have Brianna, Moller, Greene here tonight. Welcome, Brianna.
Thanks for having me.
And I have Gwen here as well.
Hello, hello.
I don't know why I said tonight because it's actually in the morning and I just had a huge coffee. Bear with me, people. Brianna, can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm actually out of the country right now in Canada. I'm from Western New York, but there was a conference, so at the last minute, I drove 2.5 hours north into Canada to support a business partner who was speaking at an event. I apologize if the sound quality isn't perfect. I'm hiding in a corner here, trying to make it work. Basically, I was teacher and assistant principal from the age of 21 to 29. So that was my passion. I went to school for that, got my master's in chemistry and biology as well as in secondary administration. That was my thing. I'm a teacher. This is going to be, my lifetime career. Weird part is I come from a long line of entrepreneurs and business people, so I don't know why the heck I went into teaching other than I like the act of sharing knowledge with people and I like working with kids, of course, but stayed with that career for 10 years and also always had like an eBay hustle on the side. And it got to a point where I kind of experienced a ridiculous amount of debt. Some was poor decisions on my part. Some was due to a bad divorce that I went through where I was left with all of the bills afterwards. And so eBay, on top of my teaching career, was helping me to pay all these bills down. Basically what happened was I just got to a point where just even eBay, like little thrift store flips that I was doing, even after 8 years of tenured teaching, my part-time checks were surpassing my teaching checks. And here I am on a contract. I can't make any more money. I'm going to make the same level as anyone else with my experience and commuting every day. And so basically I took a year of leave of absence. And this was back when all I did was eBay. And within a month I said, yeah, I'm not going back. This is it. This is the thing for me. From there, it just kind of snowballed. And I just started learning more and more about making money online and had this goal of I wanted to lead a laptop lifestyle. I wanted to travel. I wanted to be able to stay home with my daughter. I wanted my husband to be able to do all these things with us. And I basically just laid out a plan for myself, starting again with eBay. And that has led me to where I am now, which is all over the place, like a little squirrel that can't focus on one thing at a time.
I definitely have that problem too. I'm just like, oh yeah, hey, you're working on this thing, and oh yeah, I remember to do this, and then oh yeah, that makes me do this, and then I have to remember this, and then it's like, what was I working on in the first place?
Yeah, I guess it's just because I'm so passionate about it. So like basically, eBay is really simple for me now. I probably bring in $8,000 to $10,000 a month just on eBay, not including profits that I make from shipping. So that's that initial business venture that really allowed us to like pay our bills and then allowed me to kind of start dabbling in other places. And it pretty much runs itself. You don't have to, with anything, after you've been doing it for so long, you just don't have to put as much effort into it. And so that just kind of freed up some of my time to explore other things, which the three of us talked about earlier briefly, which led me to Amazon, which is primarily kind of where I am now. All of my business ventures kind of surround around Amazon.
So what type of lifestyle do you have right now?
It's very untraditional lifestyle as far as, so our daughter is in kindergarten and we're going to keep it that way for now, but we do have some goals of possibly being able to travel, but my husband stays home full time and so he manages everything household wise. We do live an active life, so like we have 4-wheelers and snowmobiles and an RV, and so he kind of maintains all of that stuff. And basically I work and travel. The travel is my choice. I just like to network and meet people that are like-minded. I call them my people. I like to geek out and work on business stuff with people, and it just seems to work for us right now.
What kind of conference are you at? I mean, is there like a seller conference or something?
Yeah, so it's called the Great North Ecom Conference, and we're in Mississauga, just south of Toronto. And the premise of it is kind of surrounding Amazon, but it's interesting as I'm talking to other people that are here. It's actually just a nice gathering of entrepreneurs. There's people that are into marketing and all sorts of other online ventures. So it's exciting for me, even though I kind of have my niche in what I like to do. I'm always open to learning about other opportunities. And so this has been a really great experience, being able to talk to other people from the online world, but not necessarily my community.
Yeah. So you said you make $8,000 to $9,000 on eBay, and then Amazon has been even better. So how much are you doing on Amazon?
Well, I would say, so across all of my business ventures, I am not a millionaire, but I do take in about $1 million gross as far as all of my business ventures go. Amazon alone, my sales are probably a little bit over $500,000 a year, and it's pretty much just me running it. I mean, I do have business partners. I keep referring to them over and over again, but they're in other ventures, not necessarily my own personal Amazon FBA account. That's just something that I run myself.
So can you take us back to when you first got started with this? I mean, you mentioned eBay.
Sure.
Were you flipping like clothes or purses or jewelry? I think we should start from the basics in case someone out there doesn't know how to get started with this.
Absolutely. And I always tell people when they ask me, what I do and how did I get there, I really feel like that is like the easiest way. Probably all of us have sold something on eBay or know someone who has. And basically all I did was I started with stuff in my house. Like a lot of people, like when you don't have any money to invest, a lot of people will have a garage sale. Well, in my mind, I've been selling stuff on eBay since I was a young kid. So, I just started by selling stuff in my house. And then I slowly kind of started to venture out to places like the church rummage sale, the local storage unit auction, the local thrift store, the local department store that was closing out. So I was just constantly keeping my eyes peeled and my ears open for really good deals on just stuff in general. I developed a niche, though, in clothing and shoes, just something that came natural to me. And we have such an overabundance of it in the U.S. that, I could probably ditch all of my business endeavors and just focus on that if I really wanted to. Just flipping used clothes on eBay.
Wow. So I think a lot of people don't get started with something like this because they're afraid of not only the extra time, but more so it's going to be really hard. And I forget if I was in a FedEx or something, but it's so easy right now to ship things through eBay and Amazon, incredibly easy. So can you tell us through, just to kind of tell people that it's not actually that hard, what are the steps?
Yeah, it isn't hard at all. I think one of the things that deters a lot of people is when they get into their eBay or Amazon account, they're afraid to click on things and try things. They think they're going to make some irreversible mistake in their account. And I know everybody, when they have an eBay and Amazon account, they just want to get going. They just want to get money. But it really does help you to just take that time, look through your account, press all those buttons, see what they all do. It is not that hard nowadays. When I started with the shipping rates, I had some little old school vintage scale, and I was hand packaging everything and going to the post office and handwriting labels. It was crazy. Now it's literally very, very simple. People pay you and literally the payment comes through and there's often a button to click, print the label. And it really just, walks you through the steps. How big is it? What are the dimensions? And then it's even going to spit out all of your different shipping options, whether it's FedEx, UPS, USPS. It sounds more complex than it is. If you're in front of your computer, it's a lot simpler than you would think.
Yeah, they make it so easy, even on the Etsy side. So I had an Etsy business for most of last year, and they set up the shipping labels for you pretty much. You need to figure out what size box or envelope or whatever you're going to ship the product in. That was maybe the hardest thing that I had to do. But beyond that, it was just so easy. And then you can just drop it off somewhere, on your way to work or whatever.
Absolutely. And then, if you get to the point too where some days I'll sell 50 things that I have to ship out, and some days are a little bit slower, but every single day you can also go on the USPS website and just schedule pickups for free every day at your house. And some days I don't have anything for them, and I'll just leave a note that says, sorry, I don't have any packages. But other than that, the postal carriers literally just come to my house every day and know to look for packages, because I also sell on Etsy as well, so I don't have to go down to the post office, is my point.
That makes a really big difference, because my boyfriend has a side hustle where he ships out monthly crates. to people. So that means, we're busy packaging stuff and putting it in there. And then he used to go to the post office and write out all the labels by hand. And it took him like an hour or more, right? And he had to go to the post office. But then this last time he figured out that he could just do the bulk shipping rate and print off the labels and stick them on there and then just boom, done. But now if we don't even have to worry about getting to the post office on time, then that would save even more time and stress. Because last time we looked up all of the post offices that were available in the area and there were like 50 or whatever. And there's only one open past noon on Saturday and it closed at 3:30 and we got there at like 3:20. And so it was like, what? But if we just have them pick it up, then we wouldn't have to worry about it.
And that's a good point, too. I love it on Saturdays because I'm like the last person on the mail route. So on Saturdays, they're sometimes coming at 3, 4, 5 o'clock. So I'm still getting a pickup on those Saturdays and they're still getting out.
So let's say that you're somebody who is starting completely from scratch. What would you do? Like, how do you even pick a product that you think will be successful?
Actually, I always tell people to start with either something that you're passionate about or you know a little something about, or just random stuff from your house. I mean, it is mind-boggling what you can sell. I would say the average person has, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, maybe even more dollars of unused just junk laying around in their house. And I'm talking about even like blenders, like kitchen stuff. So that is just flat out the easiest way to start. And then from there, usually everyone has just something they have a little interest in, whether it's handbags, whether it's comic books, whether it's vintage glassware. And that's kind of how I started. I just start with what I knew, and then I started to build into areas that also were of interest to me along the way.
So are you doing mostly used stuff still, or have you gone through the process of like creating a private label product with a manufacturer and selling your own line?
I have done all of the above. My Amazon FBA account, for those of you listening, if you don't know what FBA is, it's Fulfillment by Amazon. So that is what frees us up to travel. So I'm buying products wholesale or through retail arbitrage, which means going into Target, Walmart, your local mom and pop stores to buy stuff to sell. Or I'm doing online arbitrage, which is essentially the same thing as going into Target, but you're just placing the orders online instead of having to go into the stores. So that's kind of what I do on Amazon, in addition to launching new products, getting into private labeling. It's kind of like a crazy global approach that I have of selling all sorts of things, basically.
So with the private labeling piece, so you need to go and actually find somebody to build your product, from my understanding. How do you go about that?
So the coolest thing about private labeling is it can be as simple or as complex as you want to make it. The old school way would be any brand you can think of that is going to outsource their manufacturing is essentially private labeling. So it's finding a product you're passionate about, and the summary would be making it your own brand, slapping your label on it, marketing it, and selling it. But there's a lot of other simpler ways to do it. A perfect example, go to the Dollar Tree and you've got all of these generic items there, all for $1. You could go in there and, for instance, create some sort of a little bundle or package. Maybe it has a theme, I don't know, Valentine's Day, whatever. And that can essentially be your branded product. So you can go on Amazon, you can apply for brand registry, which is something that's going to enable you to sell under your brand and then prevent other people from trying to sell on your listing, if that makes sense.
That's interesting. I noticed people are selling like college care packages where they put a bunch of snacks, like smart food popcorn, little things, and put them together.
It's funny. It's kind of the next step of Amazon. Here I am at this conference, and I was really thinking about the fact that a couple years ago, Amazon was perfect for everyone to get into. It seemed like you could sell just about anything. And, these big companies and these big brands aren't too happy about that sometimes. And so they're starting to lay down the law, and they're really starting to prevent third-party sellers from selling these brands. So people are really starting to look towards private labeling, but a really easy way are these bundles. And people are killing it on these bundles. You can go to the Dollar Tree and spend $3, $4, $5 and create an Easter basket that looks like it costs $40. And create your own listing on Amazon. The chances of somebody replicating what is in that bundle is like 0. And so that's something else to think about down the road if anyone's ever wanted to get into Amazon. That's a really low investment, but a powerful way to get into it.
Oh, man. But I guess in that case, it wouldn't make sense to do FBA because you don't need them to store it in the warehouse. You just store it in your house.
Well, that's the funniest part with FBA too, is that's almost like a judgment call that everyone has to make. But I would highly recommend, even though there are large fees attached to Amazon FBA, because I don't have to ship my products to my customers, because they handle all that stuff, because my volume is so much greater with them, I choose to do it. I actually make more money. Like if I'm making a bundle, I would send it to Amazon FBA and just have them deal with it, have them ship it. And then I mark my price up high enough to absorb their fees.
Yep. And I guess they handle returns too, right?
They do. It's amazing. I rarely get a customer inquiry. And if I do, it's basically a redirect to some page of Amazon.
Have you tried the bundle thing yourself?
I have. A couple years ago, I tried it when I was first starting out, and it was hysterical. My thought process was to go into the Dollar Tree and pick out things that I thought were cool and try to make them work. And I was like, yeah, none of these have anything to do with each other. I don't know what I'm doing here. And then as I got into the industry more, I started to look at things like, let's say I'm ordering, I don't know, like video game system or something, a portable one. So I go down and I look at what are people buying with it? Oh, they're buying probably maybe a headset, or they're buying, I don't know, maybe some accessory. So when I started to look at what people were already buying separately, it started to give me ideas about what to bundle that made sense. So it's a good way to research that.
Oh, wow. You can even do electronics and stuff too. That's interesting.
Yeah, you can do just about anything. There are a few, like with every marketplace, there are some policies you have to follow and certain things you can and can't do. But in general, it's a pretty amazing way to make a lot of money.
Yeah, well, because think about it. A couple months ago, I was getting really into loose leaf tea. And I had to go buy a teapot, and I had to buy a strainer, and I had to buy loose leaf tea. And it would be really cool if just all that stuff was boom in one bundle.
Well, and funny that you bring up tea. I mean, there's another great example of just tea. A business partner of mine in one of my other businesses, his private label item is tea. And he is doing that very thing. He just found a company that said, hey, yeah, we'll work with you, whatever. We'll mix up your blend and you can design the packaging. And it was just, he went to a trade show and met this person. And next thing you know, he's selling tea and he's creating bundles now as well with the glass teapots that goes with it, or, like some of the accessories that you mentioned as well.
Awesome.
Oh my God, my wheels are turning right now, Gwen. There's so much
I can hear them.
I
can hear them.
Yeah, they're shouting.
You're inspired.
Okay, so that's awesome. Let's talk about the money that you need to get started with something like this. So how did you personally get started, and about how much do you think someone should have in cash or saved or whatever before they do this?
So if you are in the situation I was in, when I started at the very, very beginning, I literally had pretty much nothing to invest. So I started with my house so that I could get a couple $100 to be able to go to the thrift store. If you're literally down to nothing and pennies, yeah, it can be done. I haven't even touched on the surface of all the different ways that you can start to generate some income to really start investing in like bigger business ventures. But that's the way I started. However, if you already have a little bit of money to invest and you want to go into Amazon, you can easily start with just a couple $100 a week up to maybe like $1,000 to $2,000 a month. It's really just about how fast you want to scale and how much money you can commit to the process. But you can start as little as you want and still make it work.
Okay, that's good to know. So in terms of your journey financially, what are your family's kind of like financial goals?
Basically, I don't really have like a set number we would like to make. Our goals are more related to the way we want to live our life. Like, I don't want a big, huge house I have to take care of because I want to travel. So, that's going to cost X amount of dollars. So we just kind of set our goals based on the next 2 to 3 years. What do we want to do? Do we want to spend the year on the road? Do we want to pull our daughter out of school? And we kind of just set our financial goals that way. Some years, this past year, I really divided my attention amongst a variety of business ventures. And I probably didn't pull in as much as I could have because I was taking that time to learn all of these different ventures. So obviously it differs for each family and how much they have to start with and then where they're headed. You can set a number and work backwards from it, or you can just say, look, this is the lifestyle I want and this is how much I got to make per month to get to it, and how am I going to get there?
We are definitely down with that logic. We both have those goals as well. And I think many of our listeners do too. So in terms of how you're going to get to where you want to be next year, what are the things that you're looking into? Like, you're at this conference, you're probably learning a lot of new ideas. What are the next things in e-commerce that you think you're going to try?
Well, some of the businesses that I already have going on the side, like I do a lot of t-shirt designs. So there's a huge, amazing platform, which many people have heard of, Merch by Amazon. It's an Amazon company, but it actually has nothing to do with your Amazon account for selling on FBA or Merchant Fulfilled. It's a separate account. So at one point, I was really gung-ho with that and bringing in $12,000 a month in royalties just from that one marketplace, Merch by Amazon. From that, I said, okay, let's get these designs elsewhere. Let's get them on Etsy. Let's get them on Shopify. Let's get them. So that's one whole vein. I've got this t-shirt company. And then I also, when I go to these conferences, I listen to people and I listen for whether there's a need for something in the community. So the business partners I keep referring to, Bob Steele and Jeremy Wilson, they co-own some Amazon-related companies with me where we specialize in helping people to do what we do. So essentially, like, let's say you're a full-time person and you want to go into Amazon FBA, you don't know where to start, you don't have the time to find products, but you know you want to get the heck out of that corporate job. Well, one of our companies will help you cut down on that time because we have 30 virtual assistants that we employ that help us to do product sourcing, and we create spreadsheets with all of these products based on whatever your criteria is for what you want to buy, and we aid, Amazon new sellers in finding products to get their businesses going. I have several ventures like that going, and it's just, I couldn't even tell you what I'll be doing by the end of the year because I'll probably learn something in March and April and May and get it going the next month, and I will have never even foreseen it coming.
So the t-shirt thing is interesting because Gwen, I know Eric does that. I know at FinCon he was showing us the Zumba shirt that he sells. And one thing that was surprising though, the margin wasn't that good on that in terms of the cost it made to make the t-shirt versus what he was selling it for. Do you have any advice on how to do the arbitrage for the t-shirt business?
Basically, what I like about my t-shirt business is that I'm not touching anything. I don't touch a single thing. Every single item that I have is print on demand. So I've got t-shirts, I've got tote bags, I've got hats. So when people are placing orders for all of these things, not only that, I haven't invested anything. This is all free. There was no investment personally for any of this stuff. You just have to have somebody to do your designs if you can't do it yourself.
Yeah, what's the margin? Because I think Eric's margin, wasn't it only $3 or something, Gwen? Is that right?
So actually, it's funny how you mentioned pivoting and stuff because he has actually divested himself of that business and is no longer doing the t-shirt stuff.
Did he get into Merch by Amazon at all?
No, he was doing his own platform, I think.
Okay. Yes, basically the way I'm doing it is I didn't invest anything. So if they want to pay me $1, $2, $3, $10, and it differs by marketplace, I'm all for it because I'm uploading designs and walking away and going on vacation and then coming back and there's thousands of dollars in my account and I didn't do anything but upload designs.
Yeah,
so
that's what he had going.
Is it through Shopify that you have it? Integration with Amazon and Shopify? Is that it?
It's weird. So Merch by Amazon is its own thing. So I have a store there. Within my Amazon account, I have my own brand of t-shirt line, which is essentially the same thing I'm doing in Merch by Amazon. If that makes sense, they're actually two separate platforms. So if you look up one of my shirts, it's listed as an FBA offering, it's listed as a Merchant Fulfilled offering, it's listed as a tote bag offering. And that's all fulfilled through my Printful is the integration I use for that. And that is also compatible with a variety of other, I use it with Etsy. Printful can work in conjunction with Etsy and actually several other marketplaces as well. They'll print it, they'll ship it, you don't have to touch any of it.
So in terms of literally getting started, do you go to Printful's website or Amazon's? How do you do it?
Yeah, so decide kind of where you're most comfortable. Let's say you're into eBay. Go over to Printful, it's completely free. There's no money up front, you just register for your account. Get some designs uploaded, they'll walk you through the process of maybe, connecting the account to your eBay account. And it's pretty user-friendly. You just start uploading your t-shirt designs into the Printful system. You can pick the color of the t-shirt you want on the mock-up stock photo, and that's it. With a press of a button, you start listing, and then if there's a sale that goes through, it's all automated.
Who makes your designs?
The actual t-shirt designs?
Yes.
So our virtual assistants do it. Basically, when I first started out, I know nothing about t-shirt designs, to be quite honest. But I'm really good at finding people who do know and outsourcing my work. So we have so many virtual assistants that I can pay them 50 cents a quarter, $1, $1.50 for one design. And I'll just tell them, hey, I saw this awesome, whatever, it's a saying that's all over Etsy, and I want to do my own take on it. Give them the information, they'll crank out the design in just a few minutes. Boom, I can have another virtual assistant going into all of these various t-shirt accounts and uploading that design for me.
How did you find the VA in the first place?
On accident, when I met my two business partners, Bob and Jeremy, the three of us just clicked. We were in like a mastermind group together, and we were all kind of headed in the same direction with our businesses. And we were like, you know what? You had a VA? No. Have you had a VA? No. So let's just go in together and figure this out. So we just got one for personal use. And then as our businesses grew, we were like, wow, this is cool. Like, I'm not spending my time, going through a spreadsheet. You got to value your time. At some point when your business is growing, you just have to start outsourcing some of these tasks so that you can utilize your time better. The one VA escalated into two, which escalated into friends asking us for help, which just escalated into this huge business of like grabbing virtual assistants and employing them based on whatever we needed in our business. So we need a new business logo, great. Let's find someone to do graphic design. We need someone to look over spreadsheets, awesome. Let's find somebody to do spreadsheets. One of the best websites to use is probably going to be Upwork, because you can find VAs from outside the U.S. that only require $1 an hour or less, and we have U.S. virtual assistants that might make $50, $100, $200 an hour, depending on what they're offering and what we need them to do.
Yeah, Upwork is great for both freelancers and people looking to hire people.
It's a great side hustle, too. I'm looking at it from a standpoint of hiring off of there, but anybody listening to this, there's another one right there that you could just offer up whatever your skills are on Upwork. Go on there, register, put your resume up there, put some of your experience up there, and so that's another way to make side money too.
Yep, I'm quitting my job here at the end of March, and I will be offering some services on Upwork as well.
Awesome. But that's, you're looking forward to that.
Oh my gosh, yes, I'm so excited.
How many days left, Gwen?
32.
32. Yeah.
Not counting at all, are you?
Well, so here's the funny thing. I'm actually so busy that I didn't really have time to count and was just like, yeah, it's at the end of March. I can't be bothered. It's like 6 weeks. And then people are like, what do you mean you don't know? You need to know. And so then I had to count it out. And now, because that's the thing, everybody asked me, you're still here? How many days do you have left?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, exciting, though.
Although by the time this goes live, you would have already left your job, so everyone can give you a congratulations shout out on Twitter or something.
Yeah.
I would love it. Love the support.
Fiery Millennials on Twitter. Great. So looking forward at the landscape of retail choices, I mean, we talked about a lot. We talked Etsy, Amazon, eBay. There's like 15 million things.
Yeah.
What works best on each platform?
As far as products?
Yes.
Okay, let's see here. Well, okay, so for eBay, I mean, you could literally sell anything and everything. I mean, clothing and shoes, I guess, would be a good recommendation. If you find me on Facebook, I would be happy to give anyone a free copy of my ebook. I wrote it a couple of years ago, and I'll update it, but it's just a clothing guide. It's huge. It's a PDF file, 400 pages, but you can put it on your phone and just scan through it while you're in the thrift store and say go to the men's shirt, start going through the men's shirts, have this open, kind of reading through the brands that I recommend that you pick up. But I would say that that's like a really, really easy way to get things going. Just something like clothing that's really easy to find and can be relatively cheap in thrift stores.
Oh, great. Actually, maybe we can put that in the show notes. If you go to our website, Fire Drill Podcast, we will link to that in the show notes. If you can give us that, Brianna, after,
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll do like a special, obviously it'll be 100% off, but I'll do like a Millennial Boss promo code.
Oh, sweet. Awesome. Okay. So last question regarding all of this stuff. Do you do any marketing for your stores? Like, are you trying to create Pinterest images or paying for Facebook ads? Like, how do you market this stuff?
I do zero marketing. None. I do not pay for a single ad.
Now,
However,
that is the kind of thing I like to hear.
Yeah. And I've taken courses on it. Is there a use for it down the road? Oh, absolutely. As I grow my businesses, I can see myself possibly having to use it. But right now, I mean, there's just so much out there for me to do. And I get so much traffic on the platforms I'm in. Like, there's just no sense in even spending any money. It just doesn't make any sense for me right now. So, no, you don't need to spend any money on ads or anything like that.
I've been listening a lot to Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't know if you guys follow him.
Yeah. I love Gary.
So he gets you all fired up regarding social media. And one of his ideas was, you should go to college campuses and make a Snapchat that is advertising your, brand or whatever. So I've been thinking a lot more about social media and how we get the word out there about stuff. It's interesting to hear you've been so successful without needing to do that.
And, I do go through the motions of, every single business I own has its own social media page and Facebook group and all that stuff. And for some of my businesses, it's helpful to have that, when I'm helping, say, a client that wants to start an Amazon business. But in general, I've had my eBay stores where, I have a Facebook page or something. It's literally, they're driving no traffic, and it's completely unnecessary for me. And anyone following the model of what I'm doing in whatever vein that is, it hasn't been necessary. It's all organic.
Got it. And this is just reminding me, we haven't talked about how you are structuring these businesses. So do you have LLCs, S-Corps? What do you recommend?
Yeah, I would definitely go LLC. So I have my own LLC, and pretty much everything that I do on my own falls under that hat. I have a partnership agreement with the two business partners and those business ventures, which we may go to an S-Corp later on. But yeah, I would recommend going that way. And I'm not an S-Corp personally, but again, I have another one on the side that is an S-Corp that I don't currently do anything with, if that makes sense. It's an old business that we shut down and just retained the S-Corp to utilize it later on. Yeah, it's definitely, I would go that route if this is something you want to do full time.
Got it. And what's the benefit of having the business partners beyond just the camaraderie and motivation and learning from each other?
Really dividing and conquering. We all had the same goals for our own personal businesses, but then once you form this team together, it's wow, you can do just so much more. And I might be busy for a couple of days and my business partner isn't. And so he's doing lots of research on a certain area of business we want to get into. And the next thing you know, it's we're on this fast track of creating another business. And I wasn't even completely in that space because it's not just me. It's just not all falling on my shoulders. It's cool to be able to lead your little group and lead your team on business ventures that you're interested in, but it's also cool to have someone else almost drag you along and you're wow, this is so cool. I wouldn't have done it without you.
As somebody with a business partner who drags her along on things, I am so incredibly grateful.
Yep.
It works.
Gwen and I, we're also kicking off a mastermind soon. The topic is Etsy digital downloads. And we're so excited. Cool. And it's with our listeners. So it's going to be cool. And by the time this goes live, we'll probably have some updates or something we can share on social media, maybe in our Facebook group. But we're excited to start that.
Absolutely. That'll just lead to more.
Yep. All right. So I think it's time for the final two.
I think you're right. So if people would like to contact you after listening to this podcast, how can they do so?
The easiest way is going to probably be Facebook. It's Brianna Moller Greene. Greene is with an E on the end. Or you can get to my Facebook through my website, which is just my name again, BriannaMollerGreene.com. Or you can also find me by getting into Facebook and looking up Elite Product Sourcing. That's one of the businesses that I own. Or most people in the Amazon community can help get you to me if you're trying to contact me, but Facebook definitely.
Awesome. All right. So then, final question. If you could do anything in the world, have anything you wanted, what would be your wildest dream?
Probably to have all of my businesses fully automated and live in a tropical location part-time and just come back to the States maybe to visit family and for holidays. And we're in love with Jamaica. We spent 2 weeks there for our honeymoon, my husband and I. And our goal long term is we would love to be able to have a house there and live there part-time.
Jamaica sounds wonderful. I hear they have good rum there.
Oh my goodness. I just love the whole culture there, the vibe there, the energy, happiness.
Perfect.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. And I know I'm super jazzed up to expand my Etsy business, maybe try out Amazon and maybe eBay. So thank you.
Good. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. Go to our website, firedrillpodcast.com, to continue the discussion and get the link to our private Facebook group.
If you like us, leave us a review on iTunes. If you're like me, you have no idea how to do that. So, in the podcast app or in iTunes, search for Fire Drill Podcast, find it, click the Reviews tab, and write something to make my mother proud of me. We read every single review and want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts for making this podcast possible.